Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Dale Carnegie podcast called Breakthrough. My name is Faith Wright. I am your host. And today we will be guest starring Susan Thompson, who is a program director. She has a heart for engineering and STEM initiatives. She is with the Science and Technology Engineering and Math. That's what STEM stands for. She's at the Houston Community College and has a passion for helping students maybe branch out, see what else is possible in this area. And based on the ways that she has overcome challenges in this career, in this path that she's decided for herself, and the way that she helps students, we figured that she would be a great guest on the podcast. So we love to just hear your experience. And what this podcast is all about is helping Gen Z take responsibility for their lives, take command, and step into their future. And we know that Susan's going to bring a whole lot of energy to the podcast today and some great tips as she is in the sphere currently and is with students all the time and does this like for a living. So she helps students greatly. Susan, why don't you come on and share just a little bit about you, your background, and how you got into the field that you're into today.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, first of all, for allowing me to join you today. I'm very excited. My story is one of those that is completely out of the box. And so I would just encourage everyone to kind of take my story as a possible step for their story. It's never as anticipated what I expected. I am not an engineer. I didn't start out as an engineer. In fact, when I first graduated from college, I started working at the university in a recruitment position, so as a recruiter. And when my first day on the job, I was told or asked to start a leadership program. And I didn't have really any leadership background except, as an officer in a student organization and activities in college. And so it just went from there. And then I ended up being or applying for a position as a director of student activities and moved into that position. And then kind of changes within my home. My husband was transferred to another city. And so looking for opportunities, I met this gentleman who said, because of your previous experiences, I would love for you to start this program, the Tulsa Alliance for Engineering. I'm like, I don't know who the engineers are. I don't know what they do, but let me dig in and see what I can find out. And created this organization, this nonprofit that does everything from recruiting students into engineering, collaborating with engineers to create scholarships and actually jobs once the students graduate, and then working with the universities for articulation agreements, of which I had no background in. So really digging in to find out what's needed and what's missing and who can help and all of that. And then when we moved down to Houston, my husband was transferred to Houston, kind of the same thing, looking for a position where I could utilize my skills, looking at everything except higher ed, and ended up meeting a gentleman that said, with Houston Community College, we have this new partnership and we want you to lead the program development of the engineering. And so ended up in this position again, not expecting it, but it's been an amazing ride. It's one of those I could never have planned to be in, but I really enjoyed it. I have great people to work with and people from all different industries, not just engineers, and a lot of collaboration, which is a lot of fun.
Yes, Susan, your story, I think, sheds a light to stepping outside your box and encouraging people to not just maybe think about the path that they've always thought about, or the path that they feel like they are most inclined or knowledgeable about. So can you speak on where that courage came from or confidence to step into something out of the box that you had no experience in?
Well, sometimes it's a desperation. It's trying to find the right job. And I applied, seriously, when I moved down to Houston, I applied to everything I could find. But my resume is just so out of the box. There is not one job that I really fit the job description. And so it was just being willing. Somebody advised me, well, why don't you go and do informal internship or informal interviews? And I'm thinking, what is an informal interview? Well, meeting with companies to say, what do you do? Or what I thought I was interested in was nonprofit and helping in
Mhm.
development and developing activities and programs within nonprofits. And
Mhm.
so I met with a number of nonprofits and just, what do you do and what do you want to do? And if you were me starting out in a new city with minimal contacts, what would you do to get started? And what do you think my next steps are? And what's challenging, what's exciting for you in this industry? And so just asking those kinds of questions, just getting to know more about who's here in the city that you're in, who you might connect with, how you might go forward. And so to me, that's a lot of it is truly just stepping out of the box. Well, and the other side of it is there's so much technology. Technology is changing exponentially. And so somebody may say, well, I want to be in, game development, or I may want to be in artificial intelligence. Everything is changing so exponentially that what statistics are telling us is that the students that are studying now, even in middle school and high school, may not be stepping into a role that is even being dreamed of yet, that has even been created. So be open-minded, be ready to, hone all of your skills, everything that you think might be applicable. And even it's something that's fun that may not be applicable. Just dip, if you have the time and the focus, dip into a little bit of everything, because you never know where it's going to lead you.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Dip your toes into multiple things and not just the thing that you think you're good at or what interests you, because there could be this whole world behind you that you don't even know about yet that you could be utilized in and really
Absolutely.
enjoy. That is such good advice. And I love the curiosity lens that you took behind, hey, maybe it wasn't about me being courageous or bold. Maybe I was just like out of desperation and needed to be curious. And these informal interviews, I think that that's something Gen Z could really take advantage of. So if you could speak more to the benefit behind that.
Okay.
And I know you talked about meeting with companies and just asking them about where they want to be, what they're doing actively. I think that's such a unique tool that people are not utilizing. They're just waiting for interviews to happen or, applications to be sent out. But with the world of networking, and LinkedIn, for instance, can be a valuable tool, and other social medias. How would you say that that has benefited you and students that you know currently?
Well, a lot of let me start back to say, it doesn't have to be the president of a company. It doesn't have to be the hiring manager. It could be your next door neighbor that's an engineer or that's in an industry that you want to pursue, whether it's hospitality or, some other area of business or entrepreneurship. Just get to know people that are doing what you want to do, or that might have some guidance and insight. If they are successful, find out why they are successful, how they got to be successful. And then maybe you might be like me, where it's kind of unexpected. You didn't anticipate being where you are. But my advice is to take all of the opportunities, all of the chances that you have to network. And again, it could be a next door neighbor. It could be a sibling. I would surround yourself with people that encourage you, that motivate you, that people that help you, that believe in you. And sometimes it's a teacher. Sometimes it's somebody at your church, or, somebody, even your sports team, the coach may be willing to mentor you, to guide you in other areas beyond the sport. So ask for those mentorships, that be willing to tap in. So if you're in the STEM fields, maybe there's a career fair or like an engineering, a STEM fair or something like that. Volunteer to help, because you never know who you're going to rub elbows with. That's why I always tell our engineering students, volunteer. If you can judge, do all of that kind of stuff, because there are engineers at all of those events, Comic Palooza, Maker Fairs, all of the fun stuff that's going on. There are tons of engineers because they are creative. They want to get out and do things more than just work. And so it's fun to interact with people that enjoy life and then view things differently. And then they may have an opportunity for you, kind of like the gentleman that I met that said, I want you to develop this. I'm like, I don't know where to start, but I started tapping into different resources that were already there. and partnering and collaborating. And that's huge. Learning how to be open-minded and to be willing to say, I don't know everything, but once you help me with this journey, and then in the meantime, I can help you with maybe there's a project or something that you need assistance with.
Absolutely. That's such a good life skill, something that you can't just utilize whenever you're young, but something that you can continue to do throughout your career. I love when you were talking about, gaining resources or people that have the skill set that you don't have to bring them into what you're doing, because I might be good at something that this other person isn't good at, and then they're good at something that I'm not. And so banding together and to use each other's strengths and interest and skill sets so that we can build something great together that benefits both parties, I think is awesome. So speak more to the collaboration piece. How has that been throughout, especially the past few years for you? And currently, what does collaboration look like?
Oh, collaboration is every day. And to me, that's the exciting part. Because I used to think that I had to know everything, that I had to have all of the expertise. And no, when I first moved down to Houston, I had a little bit of experience with the makerspace, a fab lab. And fab lab was created out of MIT. It's a fabrication laboratory. I was in Tulsa and had a chance to interact with the Tulsa fab lab and seeing all of the projects that they were doing with middle school kids, exciting students into the STEM careers, 3D printing and laser cutting and all of the equipment. And so when I moved down to Houston, and again, I connected with Houston Community College, we were talking, was able to be involved in developing a kind of the framework of a new building, a new campus for Houston Community College. Dr. Zach Hodges is our president. Dr. Butch Herod was leading the team. And so one of the things I said, we were talking about what components should be in this new building. And I said, I would love to have a makerspace. And they're like, great idea. What is that? What does that mean? Yeah. What does that mean? And so I got to lead the team in developing a makerspace, designing it, creating it. And we joined the MIT Fab Lab Network, which is a national organization. So you have access to people from Georgia Tech and MIT and Case Western and, California and all over the United States, and learning about their programs and their projects and how they create maker spaces, who they cater to, what kinds of equipment they have, how their business program is set up. One of the processes I had to do was create a business plan. I didn't know how to do it, but I can research, I can connect with our Center for Entrepreneurship and they can assist me. And that's what I did, put together an incredible team. I met with this gentleman that had his own makerspace in his backyard, in his garage. And so I tapped him to be part of our committee, and he volunteered to help. I mean, everybody was a volunteered to help us design and create the space, to collaborate and determine what was most important, everything. So collaboration is huge. I have learned so much from this. And one of the things that I really like about a makerspace is it encourages students to learn new skills. I mean, the equipment, the 3D printers are so much fun, but it's not really about the equipment. It's about learning the new technology, learning how to collaborate, the critical thinking skills that goes with that, learning how to communicate with other people that may not be in your sphere, that don't talk exactly the way that you do or use the same language. And so collaborating with them to create something better. And so it's been an incredible journey.
I love how you're talking about collaborating with people that are different from you and not just people that have the similar upbringings or backgrounds maybe that you do. There's something unique to bringing in a different perspective than you have grown up around. And so tapping into that piece, I think, is really crucial. I know you were saying earlier how you express to your students, hey, go volunteer, put yourself in spaces where you can have new opportunities, that you might meet someone who they maybe don't have what you need, but there could be someone they can connect you with that they know that is valuable and could be a better resource to use. So just putting yourself in spaces and situations to collaborate, maybe with the unexpected, and you'll never know how it's going to turn out. What are you looking forward to in the future when it comes to being in charge of this role and continuing to build for the community college a program where you are a woman in business, right? Doing this as not just a leader, but as a woman. Like, what do you hope for the future for yourself and the initiative that you're working on?
I love the fact that we are able to encourage more women and more diversity into our organizations.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because when I do presentations to high school and middle school students, I say, we're really strongly encouraging more women into the STEM fields. I mean, that's everything from biology and chemistry to artificial intelligence, computer science, cybersecurity, engineering, and mathematics, physics, all of these areas. We need more women. Companies are figuring out that women think differently than men. Surprise. I mean, I'm sure it's a surprise. And so getting more women to understand that there are a ton of resources available for them, a ton of opportunities. STEM fields tend to be more stable and also pay a little bit more for your skills and your expertise. And we need more women in that. And so anytime I can share that option to encourage more women, but also diversity. I mean, everything, we need different thoughts, different experiences, different languages, different cultures. We need all of that. There are huge benefits to every organization, different perceptions. People see things differently. I could write something and somebody may think one thing differently than what I had intended. So just encouraging all to participate. And we all become better with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. What if there's a lady listening right now and she is thinking, that sounds awesome. Like, I don't know how to get started in that though. Like, it seems intimidating. It's been predominantly a male field. How do I even gain interest in that or dip my toes in?
Yeah, I would share that interest with anyone that would listen, anyone that might have a contact. And again, it may be a next door neighbor. It may be somebody at your church. It may be somebody at the school, maybe an advisor that thought, oh no, I thought you were going to be a teacher, or I thought you were going to be, an accountant or whatever. Don't allow somebody to put you in a box. Really reach out there and look at all of the opportunities. I would also encourage everyone to do some really good research about what's involved. If you don't like math, then maybe engineering is not the pathway for you. Just like if you don't like blood, the medical industry may not be. But with that said, there may be areas in the medical industry where you don't have to deal with blood. So, really look into what is out there, what options. There are so many different careers that need different ways of thinking, different perceptions and different experiences. And then also, don't be afraid to fail. That's one of the reasons why I love 3D printing is students are brought in a sense to prototype, to create something, and then knowing in most cases, the first print is not going to be the ideal, that it may not have the functionality that you want. There may be some tweaking that's required. So failure is an option. So really, no, and sometimes we learn better from our failures than we do our successes. So don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to step out there and learn as much as you can and connect with as many people as you can.
I'm curious, Susan, what's been a failure for you where you had a big breakthrough? So it's inevitable. We're going to fail. I think it'd be very encouraging to hear from someone in your position, maybe for a listener, of what's maybe a breakthrough that you've had in overcoming a failure.
Good question. I hate this question, but I'll tell you anyway. We received a grant from Citgo Petroleum actually last summer to do a summer camp. And the focus, because The focus was juniors and seniors right out of high school, or that are graduating from high school, coming into Houston Community College or into another university, and really helping them level up on math and sciences, helping them become successful. Our issue or our concern was, because of COVID, we know that a lot of students have missed a lot of the connections. We're seeing issues with calculus. Calculus is basically the first step of math in an engineering degree. And so a lot of students are having some difficulty. So helping them level up. Well, what we found was that was probably not the best target. It was a great idea, but not the best target, because they are either taking jobs for the summer, or they have family commitments or other projects. So we stepped back and rethought that. We didn't get the attendance, the number of students to participate that we thought we would. So we refocused, put together another plan, and started this early fall, August, September, and October, or August and September, and put together sessions for students kind of in that demographic, in all students, specifically, females and underrepresented students, to come in and attend math sessions, STEM sessions, activities, mentoring sessions to learn more about engineering and how they might be successful. And so we, in a sense, created almost 8 times the amount of impact that we had originally started out to create by realigning. So I was frustrated. I was so embarrassed because this was my program that I was leading. But we had so much more of an impact on a number of students versus one small subset. A number of students in a number of different organizations, and brought in additional professors to work with us. And so had a huge impact. And it was very, 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 very successful, surprisingly successful.
And I think that goes to show it's good to be willing to break through things and like continue to work on things and pivot and realign when necessary, instead of, you said that it was kind of embarrassing, a little humiliating, right? Because I was like heading up this thing, but not being stubborn, but being willing to realign, because I feel like some people in that situation could be, we're just going to keep doing it, keep going the way that, we originally thought that it would be, and being able to realign just has such humility to it. And you were able to impact and serve many more students because you realigned and had the humility and knowledge to do so. So that's just super encouraging to hear. And anyone listening on the podcast who is afraid to realign, there could be much benefit on the other side if you decide to do so. And you could be impacting so many more people just by being willing to pivot. So thanks for that encouragement, Susan. If people want to connect with you personally, maybe on LinkedIn, or just know more about STEM, how can they get in contact with you?
Oh, great. Yeah. And LinkedIn is a great resource. I would strongly encourage everyone to link in with me. I use my maiden name because there are 10 million Susan Thompsons out there. So Susan Stangl Thompson, and Stangl is Stangl Thompson. So check me out on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with you. Love the work that you're doing here, Faith. This is an amazing program, and your outreach is just impressive and amazing.
Thank you, Susan. We're super excited about it. I'll link your LinkedIn down below for anyone that can just press on that and get connected with you. And don't be afraid to reach out to Susan for an informal interview, like she gave us that great tip on during the podcast today. So thank you for all the bits and nuggets of wisdom, Susan. I'm so excited about the initiative that you have going on there in Texas. So for anyone who is actually in Texas as well and wants to meet Susan in person, there you go. There's your hookup. For anyone that wants to connect with us on Instagram, you can go to Greater East NC and follow us there, as well as go to our website, dalecarnegie.com, and get the list of all of our programs that we have happening. For any young adults that are interested, they can contact me directly, and I'll leave my info down below at faith.wright@dalecarnegie.com. And we look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. Thanks again, Susan, for being an awesome guest.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.